Most people believe walking is the safest exercise there is. Your doctor says do it. Your fitness tracker celebrates it. Every health magazine recommends it. Just get your steps in. 10,000 a day. That's the goal. I believed it too, until I started noticing something nobody wanted to talk about. Patients coming to me with perfect step counts and deteriorating cognitive function. People walking 5 miles a day who couldn't remember their grandchildren's names. Active seniors whose brains were aging faster than their sedentary neighbors. Here's what nobody tells you. The way you're walking right now, this very moment, might be doing the exact opposite of what you think. My name is Dr. Harrison Wells. I'm a neurologist and movement disorder specialist with over 23 years studying the connection between physical activity and brain health. And today I'm going to show you why the most popular exercise in the world has become one of the most misunderstood, and how that misunderstanding is quietly accelerating cognitive decline in millions of people who think they're doing everything right. Let me ask you something. If you take a car and drive it the same route, same speed, same conditions every single day for 10 years, what happens to the driver's attention? It disappears. The brain stops processing. It goes into autopilot. Now take that same principle and apply it to your morning walk. Same sidewalk, same pace, same podcast in your ears, same time every day. Your body is moving, but your brain checked out 6 months ago, and that is the trap. Here's what happens inside your brain when you walk the same route the same way every single day. The hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories and spatial navigation, it needs novelty. It needs challenge. It needs to solve problems. When you walk the same path at the same pace, listening to the same content, your hippocampus gets exactly zero stimulation. In fact, studies show that repetitive low-challenge movement can actually reduce hippocampal volume over time. Your brain is shrinking while your step count is climbing. You're walking yourself into cognitive decline and nobody is telling you to stop. Now I want to be absolutely clear about something. Walking itself is not the problem. Movement is essential. Physical activity is one of the most powerful tools we have for brain health. I have seen it save people's cognitive function. I have measured it in brain scans. The problem is not that you're walking. The problem is how you're walking, why you're walking, and what your brain is doing while you walk. Those three things make all the difference. And most people have all three completely wrong. Let's talk about walking mistake number one, the autopilot route. The same neighborhood loop you could walk blindfolded. I had a patient, I'll call her Margaret, 72 years old, retired librarian, sharp, organized, deeply committed to her health. She walked every single morning for 8 years. Same route, 4 miles, same trees, same houses, same corner where she turned around. She came to me because she was forgetting appointments, misplacing her keys, struggling to follow conversations. When I tested her cognitive function, her hippocampus showed significant atrophy, not from disease, from disuse. Her body was moving, but her brain had nothing to navigate. Here's the science. Your hippocampus doesn't just store memories. It creates a mental map of your environment. When you navigate new spaces, make spatial decisions, process changing terrain, your hippocampus fires up, neurons connect, new pathways form. This is called neuroplasticity, and it's your brain's defense against aging. But when you remove navigation, when you remove decision-making, when you walk a route so familiar your brain doesn't need to pay attention, that entire system shuts down. And over months and years, it atrophies. The neurons that don't fire don't wire, and eventually they die. A landmark study published in the Journal of Neuroscience tracked older adults who walked regularly. The group that walked varied routes, changed directions, navigated new environments, they showed increased hippocampal volume over 12 months. The group that walked the same familiar paths showed no improvement. Some showed measurable decline. Same amount of walking, same physical effort, completely different brain outcomes. The difference wasn't the steps. It was the mental engagement. So what's the alternative? It's simple. Change your route every single time. I don't mean once a week. I mean every time. Walk a different street. Turn left instead of right. Explore a new neighborhood. Go to a park you've never been to. Your brain needs to navigate. It needs to process new visual information, make decisions, update its mental map. That cognitive load, that's what keeps your hippocampus alive. Margaret started doing this. Different route every morning. Within 6 months, her cognitive testing improved. Not medications, not supplements, navigation. Walking mistake number 2, the distracted walk. Let me be direct. If you're walking with earbuds in, listening to podcasts, audiobooks, music, scrolling your phone, you are wasting one of the most valuable opportunities your brain gets all day. I know that's not what you want to hear. I know walking is when you catch up on content. I know it feels productive, but here's what the research shows. When your auditory cortex is occupied with processing speech or music, your brain's ability to engage with your physical environment drops dramatically. You're not present. You're not noticing. You're not thinking. You're just moving while consuming content. And your brain learns nothing. There's a specific type of brain activity called theta wave oscillation that happens during exploratory movement. It's associated with learning, memory formation, and spatial processing. Studies using EEG monitoring show that theta oscillations are significantly reduced when people walk while listening to complex audio content. Your brain is literally less active, less engaged, less plastic when you're distracted. You think you're multitasking. You're actually shutting down the exact cognitive processes that walking is supposed to stimulate. I had a colleague, brilliant neurologist, who told me something I'll never forget. Harrison, the brain doesn't learn when it's entertained. It learns when it's bored. That stopped me cold. Because he's right. Boredom is when your mind wanders, when it makes connections, when it processes emotions, memories, ideas. When you walk in silence, your default mode network, the part of your brain that activates during rest and reflection, it lights up. This is when creativity happens, when problem solving happens, when emotional regulation happens. You need that time. Your brain desperately needs that time. And you're filling it with podcasts about productivity. Have you ever walked without headphones and actually noticed your thoughts? Write that in the comments. I want to know how many of you even remember what that feels like. Walking mistake number 3, the social isolation walk. Walking alone every single day is a missed opportunity that most people don't realize they're losing. Here's what happens in your brain when you walk with another person and have a conversation. Your prefrontal cortex engages. Your language centers activate. Your theory of mind network, the part of your brain that understands other people's thoughts and perspectives, it gets a workout. You're processing social cues, facial expressions, tone of voice, all while coordinating movement. This is a cognitive symphony, and it's one of the most powerful forms of brain exercise that exists. Social isolation is one of the strongest predictors of cognitive decline in older adults. Stronger than physical inactivity, stronger than many genetic risk factors. And walking alone every day reinforces that isolation. You think you're being healthy. You're actually depriving your brain of social stimulation it needs to stay sharp. Studies show that older adults who engage in regular social physical activity, walking groups, hiking clubs, even just walking with one consistent partner, they show significantly better cognitive outcomes than solo walkers with identical physical activity levels. The conversation itself matters, not just the presence of another person. When you talk while you walk, you're forcing your brain to do 2 complex things simultaneously. Manage physical movement and navigate social interaction. That dual task processing is exactly what keeps cognitive flexibility alive. It's why ballroom dancing is so good for the brain. It's not the steps, it's the coordination with another human being. Here's the conversation worth having. Find one person, a neighbor, a friend, a spouse. Walk together twice a week. Talk, not about the news, not about complaints. Talk about ideas, memories, questions. Make your brain work while your body works. That combination is cognitive gold. Walking mistake number 4, the intensity flatline. Most people walk at exactly the same pace every single time. Comfortable, steady, a pace they could maintain for hours. And while that's good for cardiovascular endurance, it does almost nothing for brain plasticity. Here's why. Your brain adapts to predictable demands. When your heart rate stays in the same zone, when your breathing stays consistent, when your effort level never changes, your brain has no reason to adapt, no reason to grow new connections, no reason to get stronger. What does challenge your brain? Intervals, variability, unpredictability. When you walk at a moderate pace for 2 minutes, then increase to a brisk pace for 1 minute, then slow down again, your brain has to constantly adjust. Your autonomic nervous system shifts between sympathetic and parasympathetic activation. Your prefrontal cortex has to regulate effort. Your basal ganglia have to coordinate changing motor patterns. This variability creates the exact kind of stress that triggers neuroplasticity. A study from the University of British Columbia found that older adults who did interval-based aerobic exercise showed greater increases in hippocampal volume compared to those who did steady-state exercise at the same average intensity. The intervals made the difference. The brain doesn't respond to average effort. It responds to peak effort, even if that peak only lasts 30 seconds. So what does this look like in practice? Simple. Walk your normal pace for 2 minutes. Then walk as fast as you safely can for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Then return to normal. Repeat. You don't need a heart rate monitor. You don't need fancy equipment. You just need to break the monotony. Your brain will thank you. Walking mistake number 5, the indoor treadmill default. I need to say this carefully because I don't want to discourage anyone from moving. Treadmill walking is better than no walking. Absolutely. But if you have the option to walk outside in natural environments and you're choosing the treadmill, you are missing one of the most powerful cognitive tools available. And here's why. Nature exposure has a direct, measurable impact on brain health that indoor exercise simply cannot replicate. There's a concept in environmental psychology called attention restoration theory. It says that natural environments restore your brain's ability to focus and process information after cognitive fatigue. The complexity of natural settings, the fractals in trees, the patterns in clouds, the sounds of birds, wind, water, these engage your attention in a gentle, effortless way that allows your prefrontal cortex to rest and recover. Studies using fMRI show that even 20 minutes of walking in nature reduces activity in the subgenual prefrontal cortex, the area associated with rumination and depression. Indoor treadmill walking shows no such effect. Beyond that, outdoor walking gives your brain environmental variability, uneven terrain, changing light, weather, wind, obstacles to navigate. Every one of those variables requires your brain to adjust, adapt, process. A treadmill gives you none of that. It's a flat, predictable, controlled surface that requires almost zero cognitive engagement. You could close your eyes and keep walking. Your brain knows this, and it checks out. I understand the appeal of treadmills, climate control, convenience, safety, but if your goal is brain health, not just physical fitness, you need to get outside, even in imperfect weather, even when it's cold, especially when it's cold. Temperature variability itself is a stressor that activates adaptive responses in your brain. Walking mistake number 6, the goal-free walk. Most people walk without any specific cognitive intention. They walk to exercise, to get steps, to burn calories, and that's fine. But if you want your walk to actually protect and strengthen your brain, you need to give your brain a job, a specific task that requires active cognition while you move. This is called cognitive motor dual tasking, and it's one of the most effective interventions for preventing cognitive decline. Here's what it looks like. While you walk, count backward from 100 by sevens. Name as many animals as you can think of that start with the letter M. Recite a poem you memorized as a child. Plan tomorrow's schedule in detail. Solve a problem you've been avoiding. The task doesn't matter. What matters is that your brain is actively working on something challenging while your body is moving. This forces your brain to allocate resources to two demanding tasks simultaneously, and that dual allocation is what builds cognitive reserve. Studies on dual task walking show that people who regularly practice cognitive tasks while walking show better executive function, faster processing speed, and improved memory compared to people who walk without cognitive engagement. The effect is especially strong in older adults. It's not enough to just move your body. You have to move your mind at the same time. Now let's talk about what you actually do with this knowledge. Because information without application is just anxiety, and I don't want you walking around afraid of your morning stroll. I want you walking smarter. Here are the 6 changes you can make starting tomorrow. Write these down. Change 1. Different route every time. No exceptions. Train your brain to navigate, not to autopilot. Change 2. Walk in silence at least 3 times a week. Let your mind wander. Let yourself be bored. That's where the magic happens. Change 3. Walk with another person twice a week minimum. Talk about something meaningful. Engage your social brain. Change 4. Add intervals. 30 seconds of brisk effort every 2 minutes. Break the monotony. Challenge your system. Change 5. Prioritize outdoor walking in natural settings whenever possible. Give your brain the restorative complexity it needs. Change 6. Give your brain a cognitive task while you walk. Count, plan, memorize, solve. Keep your mind active while your body moves. These 6 changes don't require more time. They don't require equipment. They don't require a gym membership. They just require intention. The difference between walking that protects your brain and walking that does nothing is not the number of steps. It's what your brain is doing during those steps. Before I get to the most important part, I want to tell you about something genuinely hopeful, because this is not a video about fear. It's about reclaiming an activity you already do and making it actually work for your brain. The research on exercise and cognitive health is overwhelmingly positive. Physical activity is one of the only interventions we have that consistently shows the ability to slow, and in some cases reverse, age-related cognitive decline. Walking, done correctly, can increase the volume of your hippocampus. It can improve executive function. It can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 40%. 40%. That's more powerful than any medication we have. The problem has never been walking. The problem is the way we've been told to walk. 10,000 steps, same route. Headphones in, treadmill, alone. That approach strips away every element that makes walking cognitively valuable. But now you know better. And that knowledge, applied consistently, can genuinely change the trajectory of your brain health. I want to tell you about a patient. I'll call him Robert, 68 years old, retired accountant, meticulous, disciplined. He'd been walking 10,000 steps every single day for 9 years. Same loop around his neighborhood, same podcast playlist, same treadmill on rainy days. He came to me because his wife noticed he was getting lost driving to familiar places, forgetting conversations they'd had the day before. When I tested him, his hippocampal volume was in the 23rd percentile for his age. Not good. I didn't tell him to stop walking. I told him to change how he walked, different routes, no headphones. Walk with his wife, add intervals, get outside even when it was inconvenient. He thought I was crazy. He said, "Dr. Wells, I've been doing this for 9 years. You're telling me I've been doing it wrong the whole time?" And I said, "No. I'm telling you that you've been getting half the benefit. Now let's get the other half." That was 18 months ago. Last month, his follow-up scan showed measurable improvement in hippocampal volume. His cognitive testing improved across every domain. His wife sent me a message that said, "I have my husband back. He's sharp again. He's present." That sentence has stayed with me ever since. Here's what I need you to understand. This is the single most important thing I will say today. Your daily habits are either building your brain or breaking it down. There is no neutral. Every walk is either protecting your cognitive future or wasting an opportunity. And the difference between the two is not effort, it's awareness. You now have that awareness. What you do with it is entirely up to you. You are not a passive recipient of cognitive decline. You are an active architect of your brain health. The choices you make today, this week, this month, they are writing the story of your cognitive future. Let's bring it all together. 6 walking mistakes that are quietly shrinking your brain. The autopilot route that turns off your hippocampus. The distracted walk that prevents theta wave learning. The social isolation that robs you of cognitive social stimulation. The intensity flatline that never challenges your brain to adapt. The indoor treadmill that strips away environmental complexity. And the goal-free walk that wastes the opportunity for dual-task cognitive training. None of this means stop walking. Walking is powerful. Walking saves lives. Walking protects brains. I have seen it. I have measured it. I am a fierce advocate for it. The message is this: walk smarter. Walk with intention. Walk in ways that actually challenge your brain, not just your legs. What's one change you're going to make to your walking routine starting tomorrow? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video helped you rethink how you move, share it. That one share might change someone's cognitive future. Take care of yourselves. Stay curious. Keep challenging your brain. You deserve a body that moves and a mind that stays sharp. And they work best when they work together. One last thing. Everything I've shared today is general medical information based on published neuroscience research and clinical experience. Every person's situation is unique. Before making any significant changes to your exercise routine, or if you have concerns about cognitive decline, please have a full, honest conversation with your own doctor or neurologist. They know your history, they know your brain, and that conversation, informed, direct, and unhurried, is exactly where good medicine begins.